like to call the County Commissioner regular meeting for February 5th to order. Appreciate those in attendance. I'm not sure where Commissioner Asciutto might be, but there he comes. All right, we're going to proceed. And if you would, please join me in prayer if you would like. And after I have us a prayer, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. And I ask that you join us, if you would like, in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would like, bow your heads. Father, we do come to you thankful for this beautiful day you've given us. It's February 5th, but I think the temperature was above 50 today, and we appreciate that. We appreciate the sunshine. It's going to be a beautiful week in Stanly County. Every day is a beautiful day in Stanly County, whether it's rain, whether it's cloudy, or whether the sun shines. And Lord, as we meet tonight, we just ask that you would direct each of us in making wise decisions. These things I pray in Christ's name. Amen. Please join me in the pledge. Let's let Commissioner Eford have a moment to get his computer working here.
Please go.
He did hit the on and off button, so. You got it? Okay. Okay. I would ask commissioners to look at the agenda if you haven't already. And I would ask that we have a motion to approve the agenda or any changes that might be made.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I would make a motion we approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, we have a motion for Commissioner Eford. Do we have a second? Second, one Commissioner King. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. The first item on the agenda is public comments, and we have one person to have signed for public comments, but Deborah, that particular item will be coming up as item 3, and at that time I will ask that you come up and speak and give us the information that you have. The second item on the agenda is the National Future Business Leaders of America, FBLA, Collegiate Week Proclamation. And there's a group of students from Stanly Community College, and I would ask that you all come up and introduce yourself and tell us about the resolution that you would like for us to approve.
I'm short, so just bear with me. Good evening, everyone. On February 11th through the 17th, chapters at colleges across the country will be celebrating National FBLA Week. Future Business Leaders of America is the premier national organization for college students interested in developing skills in business, leadership, and professionalism. My name is Toby Neal, and this is a particularly special year for the Stanly Community College FBLA Collegiate Chapter. We are celebrating our 50th anniversary. The chapter was founded in 1974, and that year Stanly Technical Institute, as we were then, attended its first state leadership conference and competitive events. The first award, won by a Stanly student, was a jar of pickles brought by the Mount Olive University chapter as a door prize. So for our 50th anniversary theme, it is From Pickles to President, because it is my privilege and honor to have been elected for this year's national president, the first to serve from North Carolina and the first to serve while a community college student. Thank you. I'll be happy to give it, and I don't charge too much. Um, In my role, I will be going to Washington next week to lead the National FBLA Week activities. As I go to DC and as we celebrate on campus, we appreciate the commissioners for recognizing the contributions of the chapter to the business, government, and civic areas of Stanley County. Former members are in leadership roles in all of these areas, and they credit their involvement in our organization as part of their success. I would also like to introduce other chapter members with me tonight. Gage Barrier, Laney Pope, and Tim Carabet, and our campus advisors, Ms. Katrina Sams and Mr. Dan Hazlett. Thank you so much for signing the proclamation recognizing the goals of our organization, the history of the Stanley Community College chapter, and the observance of National FBLA Week. I will be taking a copy of it with me to Washington next week so that I can point to the recognition and the support that Stanley County gives our chapter and all the support that you've given us through the past 50 years. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank the students from Stanley Community to join us tonight. And I believe Stanley Community College had celebrated their 50th, I think they started in 1971. I believe I'm correct. I was a mere 20 years old at that time, and that's a good addition for Stanley County. And I believe all the commissioners have had time to review the proclamation, and so I would ask for a motion to approve the proclamation.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the proclamation
Second.
as presented.
Okay, we have a first and we also have a second. Any other comments, discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Do you all have more?
That is all that I have.
Well,
so
well,
thank you.
I have something.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm very pleased as a citizen of Stanley County that Stanley Community College has a young man that has been elected to the the president of the national chapter. And man, that's a great accomplishment. You will remember that the rest of your life. You must be a great public speaker, because if you weren't, you would not be in that position. I know that the Phi Beta Lambda and the PBL initials we recognize has been around for almost 50 years. And a lot of great students attended Stanley Community College and have leadership roles within our community. So as a member of Stanley County Board of Commissioners, I recognize you and your peers for the great achievement of becoming the national president. And I mean, that just blows my mind. And when were you elected?
so I was elected on June of last year in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, June of last year. And I do know, I think you're going to graduate this spring from Stanley Community College. And like you said, you are the first community college student that has ever earned the privilege to be the national president. And from now on, I'll call you Mr. President. So that's great. That's great. And I hope the newspaper and the radio pay some attention to you, because they need to. I know Mr. Hazlett said that you are I think you're political science is
Yes.
your major. And hopefully someday you will earn the privilege of being in a public office, maybe county commissioner, maybe city council. It could even be North Carolina State Representative, or either North Carolina State Senator. And man, you have got the future in front of you, because if I were your age and I were graduating with a political science and I've achieved national recognition, man, the sky is the limit. And I congratulate you. Matter of fact, I got a plaque right here to give to you. And if the Board of Commissioners would come down with me, we're gonna make this presentation. Congratulate y'all too, 'cause, yeah.
So who's the next president in the group?
Congratulations.
Somebody's gotta carry the torch.
Let me read this to you. Hopefully this speaker will pick me up. This is, come right here, young man. I wish I was your age again.
Stanley County.
could be
It says- Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it says Stanley County congratulates Toby K. Neal, future business leaders of America Collegiate 23-24 national president, and expressed appreciation to the attention his election brings to Stanley County, Stanley Community College, given to you by the Stanley County Board of Commissioners, signed by me, Willie D. Lawhon Jr. Y'all got that right, didn't you? It's Willie, it's not Bill, it's Willie, except it says WD on here. And it says Peter Asciutto, Mike Barbie, Patty Crump, Scott Eford, Trent Hatley, Brandon King.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you
Man,
so
I am
much.
proud of you.
Thank you. It's a great honor.
I am very proud of you.
Thank you. It's a great honor.
Yeah.
It's my privilege.
Yeah.
Thank
luck.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. And by the way, I'm not running for re-election, so I'm happy about that. All right, item number 3 is the CR 23-04, Allie Darwick, conditional use, and the presenter is Bailey Klein.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna get this pulled up. Tonight, the first item that I have before you is CR 2304. This is a request, a conditional zoning for portions of 2 parcels that total 2.5 acres at 24426 and 24414 2427 in Albemarle. The property is currently zoned RA, which is residential agricultural, and Mr. Darwich is requesting that it be rezoned to Highway 2427 conditional district. Allie Darwich has requested to rezone the 2 parcels totaling 2.5 acres in order to operate an automotive dealership. The parcel is located at 24414 in C 2427, contains 21.76 acres, and 1.67 acres of that parcel is being requested for rezoning. The parcel located at 24426, 2427 contains 0.83 acres, all of which is being requested to be included in the rezoning. Mr. Darwich has indicated that there's a manufactured home at 24426, which would potentially be used as the office space for the car lot if it meets criteria for the building code. Architect plans for updating the manufactured home to a commercial use have been given to the planning staff. The request for conditional zoning limits the use of area to only allow for an automotive dealership. A list of the proposed conditions, which includes a limit on the number of cars, location of the entrance, and size of the sign, is attached. And I'm going to go ahead and move to that. So these are the list of proposed conditions, and some of these were amended at the planning board meeting, so I'll just read through these quickly. The first condition, the use of the property would be limited to only a vehicle sales lot and related sales office, a 10-foot vegetative buffer from the edge of the right-of-way to the front facade of the office, then a 6-foot fence following the rest of the property line, unless it's waived by the adjoining property owner. One freestanding sign that shall not exceed 64 square feet and no more than 2 wall signs up to 32 square feet. One temporary sign or flag allowed for no more than 14 days at a time every 6 months. Hours of operation will be 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. unless a client makes an appointment that is needed after 6. Lighting on the property shall only be cut-off style fixtures, and the lights shall be shielded and/or angled to prevent light trespass on neighboring properties. The middle driveway will be used as the entrance/exit and shall meet NCDOT requirements. Vehicles for sale shall be set back at least 10 feet behind the right-of-way on 2427, and no strings of pennants, strings of lights, inflatable attention-getting devices, or similar objects or devices shall be used. And then a removal of a carport that's on the north side of the home. These parcels are located approximately 1.11 miles from a growth area at Frog Pond and 2.29 miles from the town limits of Red Cross. Mr. Darwich is in agreement with these conditions thus far. He has indicated that he plans to start with 30 to 40 cars for sale at this location, and it could increase the number if the lot is successful. Mr. Darwich operates a chain of car dealerships known as Adams Auto Group, and he has recently constructed a home on the adjacent lot. He told the planning board that he wanted to operate a vehicle sales lot convenient to his home. Adams Auto Group has a central service location in Charlotte where all the cars will be serviced and prepared before placement on these sales lots. There are no plans for service bays, etc. at this location. I'm going to move to the map actually. So this is the aerial view of the property. Before, the first request he had was totaling 5 acres, I believe. Then he downed it to 3.5, I believe, and now it's 2.5. So it used to come out behind Deborah's house. So it used to kind of go like this. And he agreed to decrease in size to remove the area from behind her home and just have it, he owns this parcel, and just have it on this side. This is the existing manufactured home that is there that he is potentially going to use as his sales office. And then if you can see it, if you can see where my cursor is, this white carport, he agreed to have that removed because it is so close to Deborah's property, and a fence and vegetative buffer will go along this right here, this side. The cars will be placed in this general vicinity, as he indicated at the planning board meeting, the 30 to 40 will be placed in this general area. There are commercial and industrial zone properties nearby, including county general business and county heavy industrial. One parcel located a half a mile east of the parcel is an existing automobile sales lot. The lot adjacent to the west was rezoned to general business in 2022 and currently houses a concrete finishing business and equipment storage yard. Across 2427 and 600 foot east is a car repair facility which sells used cars which they have repaired. Despite being located near several commercial uses, this area was designated as a rural preservation area in the current land use plan. Under the previous land use plan, this was identified as a growth area. Mr. Darwich has indicated that the hours of operation will be 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. The entrances into this property will meet all NCDOT site requirements, and all light fixtures will be cut off. There is a septic system on the property where the manufactured home sits, which is proposed as being used as a sales office. The latest traffic count shows 14,000 vehicles per day. That was done in 2022. The planning board amended a few of the conditions as I previously stated, and then voted unanimously to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve this rezoning request for a conditional district. All adjoining property owners within 100 feet of the property were notified concerning the legislative hearing and the planning board hearings. So this is just another aerial view, but it shows you this concrete facility. This is Nathan Soltis. This was approved, I believe, in 2021, 2020 for him, and this is zone general business, if I'm not mistaken. This is Mr. Darwich's home that he is currently constructing. It's under construction. An existing sales lot here, and another existing sales lot is over here. And this just is a zoned view. So as you can see, the county M2 that I spoke of earlier, that's across the street, and about 600 feet up is right here, and another one further up. And then Nathan Soltis is general business. And then this is the land use plan map. All the green obviously is rural preservation, and this small blue, if you can see it, that is the proposed area for the rezoning. Then you have I think this is Red Cross, yeah, and the orange and the red are growth areas, so he falls shy of that. And I think there's one more. So this is hard to see probably on the screen, it's a little blurry, but you all should have received this, and it shows obviously where his vehicles will be placed that I pointed out earlier, the existing mobile home that is potentially going to be used as the sales office, and then the entrance. There was some concern over which entrance would be used because he indicated that there's 3 ways to access the property, but he was okay with using the middle entrance, I believe it was, for the property, to enter the property. And that is the last slide. And that is all I have.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions of Bailey? And before you do that, before there's a question, or before I open a public hearing, I've talked with our county attorney, and I believe I need to ask to be approved to be recused from this vote. I own one of the dealerships that's noted, and I don't run it, but I own the property, and I do receive a lease payment on that property, and therefore I do have financial interest, and I ask to be recused. I need a motion.
I make a motion that recuse.
First, Commissioner Shudo. Second, Commissioner Hatley. All in favor of recusing me? Okay. Motion carries. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Peter.
Question. How much of that land is gonna be paved with, how much of that land is gonna be paved with pavement originally to hold those 30 to 40 cars?
That would be a question for Mr. Darwich. He didn't specify, if I believe at the last meeting, what type of gravel, asphalt, pavement will be used to enter for the property and the lot. So that would be a question for Mr. Darwich.
If you would, please come up to where everybody can hear your comments.
Initial plan will be just putting some crush and run in there to see how things are gonna go. And we might pave around maybe 3/4 of an acre if we needed to. So 3/4 of an acre will be the answer.
Any other questions?
Is there a particular type of cars that you sell in
We-
your other lots?
Yeah, we sell newer model cars, pickup trucks, work vans, utilities. Most of our inventory is like newer models between 2020 and 24 models.
Okay, and you plan to duplicate that here on
That
that
is correct,
process?
yes.
I'm curious, I didn't read anything here about the possibility of a turning lane, and I was just wondering if that would be something that would be something we would need to worry about, and would you incur that cost if that turned out to be an issue with traffic?
If it's needed, we will apply for it and definitely will take the financial responsibility for it. But as of now, we have no plans to consider one. The lot is not that big to kind of demand this kind of entrance.
Any other questions?
One more. Ms. Klein, you had said that this was just shy of the growth area from Ridgecrest, was that where?
Red Cross. Yes,
So
ma'am.
how far is just shy?
1.11 miles from a growth area.
probably put that in the,
Oh, you're fine.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay?
How many cars could that expand to on that property?
Max is be 70 cars, maximum capacity.
And just to clarify on that one, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, it's not listed as a condition, but I assume that if they would like to, then the board could add that as one. If you feel that it's necessary to add a max number of cars, then you could add that as a listed condition.
Anything else?
Question. How is this going to impact our land use plan? Because we just got it going. The public's worked several years on this thing. And, we just got it enacted back a few months ago. And here we are already trying to change the land use plan again. And I have reservations about setting a precedence for other things. I know a lot of businesses are there, but have been there for many years. And so since the land use plan's been enacted, that's one of the main reasons. And our agricultural commissioner, Mr. Troxler, had just put out an email stating that at the present growth rate, North Carolina was going to lose a fifth of the farmland in the next 15 years. And so this was enacted to help preserve the farmland. So that's, the way I'm looking at it now.
Sure.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Darwick.
Thank you.
This requires a public hearing, so I'll open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone here to speak against this rezoning request. Please come forward, state your name, and please hold your comments to 3 minutes or less. Don't see anybody coming forward. Is there anyone to come forward and to speak for this zoning request?
I'm good, sir.
I'll declare the public hearing closed and ask my fellow commissioners, what's your desire on this zoning request?
Mr. Chairman, could I ask Bailey one more question, please?
Sure.
Bailey, are there gonna be any on-site retention ponds or anything on this property?
Not that I'm aware of, no, sir.
Is it, the ground that's been disturbed, is it more than an acre?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, because I know if it's more than an acre, then, DEQ would have to have a stormwater permit, and I didn't know if there were any either underground or above-ground retention ponds for this property. 'Cause I read in here somewhere about somebody was talking about the runoff.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you.
We did have someone sign up for public comments, and I told them it would be taken care of at this time. And I think it was Deborah, and yes, would you come forward, state your name, and tell us whether you're for or against, and give us the reasons, please.
My name is Deborah Streskowski, and I do own the property that is adjacent. I really only signed up tonight because I had a question about what would happen if Mr. Darwich got the rezoning and then wanted to leave the area or sell the property. Could it become something other than it? And I was speaking with him earlier, and he said, no, this is just for this one thing, and then any other use would have to go through the same process. So, I did speak at the initial meetings, and of course, as the homeowner there, my preference would have been for everything to remain as it was. But Mr. Darwich has been very good about amending his application, preserving the land behind the house, and so, I hope that it'll be a good development and a good relationship with him. So I'm not, in protest of it anymore, but. I appreciate your letting me speak and make your decision.
Thank you. I guess I should have let you speak during open, during the open time, but I didn't. Am I in trouble? Okay, I'm not in trouble according to our attorney. All right, so what's the pleasure of the board?
I just want to make a comment. You know, these things are pretty tough. And I try to look at each one of those individually. I'm just, you know, that's a high traffic area with a lot of visibility. And then, you know, you go from 30 to 70 cars and you start paving over and doing the thing. And I'm just not at this time willing to change our ordinance for that. That's why I'm going to be a no on that.
Well, you can. You can.
Oh, I can't get my thing, okay. I make a motion to deny the rezoning request CR 23-04, which would create a conditional zoning for a vehicle sales lot. Although this is located near existing commercial properties, it is a rural preservation area as identified in the land use plan.
Okay, we have a motion to deny. Do we have a second? Second. Any discussion? I'm gonna ask that you raise your right hand when you vote. All in favor of the motion to deny, please raise your right hand. That's, any opposed? That's all of them. It's six to deny, and that would be the six that are voting on this matter. So, the motion to deny has been made and passed, and no other discussion. At this time, we'll go to planning board appointments. Bailey Klein, please come forward.
All right. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the next item I have before you is board appointments of 3 members for the Stanley County Planning Board. The Stanley County Planning Board consists of 7 members appointed by the Board of Commissioners in staggered 3-year terms. Terms for 3 board members expires in February, and new appointments are needed. The 3 positions currently held by Michael Williams, David Underwood, and Tim Vesperman expire this month. Mr. Williams and Mr. Underwood have served multiple terms, while Mr. Vesperman has served 1 full term. All 3 have indicated a willingness to continue serving and have submitted updated applications. Each of these 3 board members bring variety of backgrounds to the board. Mr. Vesperman is the past city administrator of Locust and has planning and zoning experience from working there. Mr. Williams is retired military and currently works for the federal government, and Mr. Underwood is both a farmer and an accountant. All have been regular in attendance and have been thoughtful and thorough board members. It is helpful to have some consistency on the planning board and a variety of background and experiences. Our other applicant received at this point is from Shawana Long from Albemarle. She's an educator and a master's degree graduate from Pfeiffer. All applications of volunteers willing to serve on the planning board are included in your packets, and current members will continue to serve until replacements are appointed. Please appoint 3 members to the planning board to serve 3-year terms expiring in February of 2027.
Bailey, are you finished?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay, so, all right.
That's my fault.
Okay. Commissioners, I think everybody's had time to review each applicant, and I'm gonna open the floor for a motion. So would someone like to approve one at a time? We got 3 to approve. We can do all 3 if that's what you all would like. I'm okay with 3. Okay. Okay, do we have a second? Commissioner Crump, Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bailey. Candace Louder. You got another resolution tonight, huh?
Yes, sir.
We're not giving any more awards out, so,
Coming for something different this time.
okay.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. You should have included in your packets an authorizing resolution for a building reuse grant. This resolution will authorize County Manager Lucas to sign the application and all the associated reporting documents to support Project Jacket's building reuse grant. The project involves an addition to an existing building, will generate 11 new jobs with salaries above the county average. It'll generate approximately $344,000 in new taxable investment. The county will support the project with 5% required match. It's already budgeted in our department funds that will fund the grant administration. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Candace? Don't see any. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the resolution.
A motion by Commissioner King. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Eford. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Clinton, are you ready to come up? You're gonna talk about delinquent taxes.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. I'm glad to be with you tonight. North Carolina General Statute 105-369A says the tax collector must report to the governing board the total amount of unpaid taxes for the current fiscal year that are liens on real property. And upon receipt of the report, the governing board must order the tax collector to advertise these tax liens. So as of January 29th, 2024, the total amount of unpaid county real property taxes for the current fiscal year, which is fiscal year 23-24, that are liens on real property amount to $1,828,537.80. Upon order by the Board of Commissioners, these tax liens will be advertised in March 2024. The stated amount will be reduced as the collections office continues to accept payments, and delinquent notices were mailed Friday of last week. So they should have been in people's mailboxes today. So we will continue to take those payments throughout February and through March, and then we plan to put those names in the paper late March. That's what we've always done in the past. So I request the Board of Commissioners issue an order to advertise these tax liens during the month of March 2024. To give you a little background, last year when I was here, the number was $1,840,384.29. So we are $11,846 better than we were last year this time, and 145 fewer receipts than last year this time. So we're still moving in the right direction. I remember years ago, I thought we would never get below 2.5 million, and here we are at 1.82, almost below 1.8 now. So we want to keep moving in the right direction. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Clinton? You explained it so well, there's no questions.
That's great.
Now all we need is a motion to allow you to advertise it.
Correct.
Who wants to make that motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we allow the advertisement to go in March 2024.
Okay. Commissioner King, need a second. Commissioner Hatley. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you. You're still up.
I'm still up. This is award night, I guess. Award and presentation night. I'm here tonight to present on behalf of the North Carolina Association of Assessing Officers the 2023 Joseph E. Hunt Distinguished Jurisdiction Award for a medium jurisdiction presented to Stanley County in recognition of outstanding achievement in tax administration and public service. and this was awarded back in November of 2023. And for tax office officials, this is a big deal, because who wants to give an award to the tax man anyway, right? Not many people. We have never won this award, ever, for Stanley County, and we compete against all 100 counties for this. I've always thought it was a bit unfair because they split it into small jurisdiction, medium jurisdiction, and large jurisdiction. Well, there's only about 5 counties that qualify as small and only about 5 that qualify as large. So when those districts win, I feel like they just rotate it every 5 years, and then, you know, they let the next person win, or maybe Mecklenburg wins one twice. But then the other 90 of us are fighting for this medium jurisdiction award. So we've applied a few times since I've been appointed tax administrator, but we've never won. And then I guess it was February of 23, I spoke with some of my staff, Tina Howell and Amy Whitley, who's our PUV specialist, and I said, what's the problem that we can help solve that we're experiencing right now? And that was a PUV problem, which is present use value. It's a program that a lot of people stay in for many, many years, and then their parents pass away or grandparents pass away, and they inherit the property, and they don't know exactly what they're getting into. And then they want to sell it or they want to transfer it, and they make mistakes and they get kicked out of the program. Our attorneys, local attorneys, are very well versed on the PUV program, but citizens are not. And when you sell or buy something, you only sit with that attorney for about 30 minutes when you close. And I was like, who do you deal with? You deal with the realtors. That's who people deal with a lot face to face. So we designed a program to teach the realtors about the PUV class and what goes on with it. So we did a trial run with 2 realtors, with Hunter Homes Realty and Larry McGuire Realty. We had, I think Hunter Homes brought 10 agents and Larry brought 8. They came up to the tax office in our conference room for about, 2 hours each time. And we just basically had class about PUV and how to recognize what was going on, and how you could help your client in the future stay in the program or possibly get out of the program if they didn't want to, participate anymore. So it was very informative. The realtors loved it. They sent actually letters of recommendation to the North Carolina Association of Assessing Officers, bragging on us and the program. And I've actually been contacted by the NCAAO for us to potentially present our class and how we did it at the following conference this year. So it's an outstanding achievement. It's named Joseph E. Hunt because he's like the founding father of property taxation, continuing ed in North Carolina. I'm sure all of y'all have been to the School of Government on UNC Chapel Hills campus. When you go down into the basement and you're going into the, what I call the cafeteria line almost to get your food, when you walk through that opening, that is like the Joseph Hunt room there. Most people don't pay attention to it because you're focused on getting food, but all the previous award winners are there, and I see it. And so now I'm proud to say that Stanley County will be added to that list where people can see that. I actually had the privilege, I was in the last class that Joseph Hunt taught ever. I started working for Stanley County in June of '02. And I took his last class in August of '02, and that was the very last class he taught. So I felt privileged that I got to be in his class one time before he retired after 40-something years, and then feel even more honored to win this today. So I don't need any action from you guys. I just wanted you to be aware of what the tax office had accomplished, and we're proud of it, and I want you to be proud of it. So, thank you. Any questions?
Clinton, are any of your staff members here?
They are not here tonight. They wanted to go
Okay.
home and eat, I think.
I can't blame them.
Yeah, I can't either,
Cannot
so-
blame them.
so-
You sure you don't want your picture made with us? I
I'm
promise
okay.
I won't speak very long, but
Okay.
we'll be glad to have a picture made with you.
Well, I'm on camera, so.
And I'd like to invite our state representative, Wayne Sasser, to come up and have a picture.
Whatever you would like to do.
All right, we want a picture.
Sure.
Hey, I didn't dress up tonight for just nothing.
Congratulations, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, it is, it is.
Here, I'll even hand you the plaque. Come here, Wayne. Congratulations. Here, don't you want to put your hand on it? Come on. He's our tax collector. We gotta get in here.
He he gets us that 1.8 million.
Yeah, we appreciate postcards you send out. We broke you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, man.
Tell your staff we appreciate
Yeah,
them.
Tim, thank you very much.
Probably-
Appreciate it, bro.
Thank you. Thank you, Trent. Appreciate it.
Okay, our next item is the department head presentation. And we have Sheriff Jeff Crisco here. And Sheriff, have you got us an award?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, no.
Your picture made?
Y'all don't want your picture made with me. See, I told you, even the chairman doesn't. No. Mr. Lucas asked me to come and speak about the sheriff's office, y'all's sheriff's office, our sheriff's office. I'm the elected sheriff, but at the end of the day, it's the people's office. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and talk about basically the last 5 years. And I promise I won't pull a Lynn Clodfelter and have us here half the night. I'm gonna keep it short.
Good, because we might leave if you don't.
I know. As the sheriff of Stanley County, it's my primary responsibility to ensure that the deputies employed by me are held to the highest standard while performing their duties, which include protecting your lives, your homes, and property of our residents. We as an agency perform these tasks true to our core values, which are preservation of human life, integrity, professionalism. In maintaining this high standard, we've made education and training a priority at the sheriff's office since I took office in 2018. One of the biggest challenges I faced when I took office was the opioid epidemic. From 2017 to 2018, Stanley County saw a 69% increase in overdose deaths. During the months of June, July, August, and September, Stanley County led the state in overdose fatalities. Overall, 2019 was much better, though. We did peak May and July, but overall, we saw a 17.7% decrease in overdoses. From late 2018 to 2021, our county's overdose rate decreased by 29.8%, and the overdose mortality rate saw a 1.2% decrease. I want to add, during that same time period, North Carolina as a whole saw a 50.4% increase in overdoses and a 29.6% increase in overdose mortality rate. In 2018, when I made the decision to run for sheriff, I made a promise and a commitment to the citizens of this county that I would combat our drug problem with every resource that was available. At the time, our county was and had been leading the state in overdoses per capita. It gives me great pleasure to tell you we no longer lead the state, nor have we led the state in years. Our narcotics division has seized over 220 pounds of illegal controlled substances. The bulk of those controlled substances consisted of heroin, methamphetamine, and fentanyl. Not until recently have we seen an increase in cocaine. I'd also like to add that they have also seized over 47,000 dosage units of prescription medication. Along with the drugs we've seized in excess of $1.2 million in U.S. currency, and our investigators have executed over 432 search warrants. Since January 1st, we hit the ground running. We have already executed 18 search warrants. These search warrants have produced a number of narcotics and weapons being seized, along with a numerous amounts of arrest. The main point of our operation is simply this: if you're going to sell drugs in our county, we're coming for you. I'm not going to put up with it. As most of you are aware, with drugs comes theft from our homes and businesses. Since day one, I've instilled in our detectives the importance of going out making face-to-face contact with victims. Don't call them over the telephone to do case contacts. Make it personal. I'm very proud to say that our detective division has recovered over $1.1 million worth of stolen property. Shortly after taking office in 2018, at the time, Commissioner Jordan approached me and asked me if the sheriff's office would be interested in having animal control and the shelter under its authority. I explained to Commissioner Jordan if we were to take both entities, I'd want to do it with a fresh start. Just a few of those changes consisted of a new name and hiring of a certified shelter manager. After a long process, in October of 2020, the Board of Commissioners made it official. I'm extremely excited to say that since the office took over the shelter, we've averaged a 98.6% live release rate. This means that 98.6% of the animals that have come into our shelter have left the facility alive, returned to their owners, adopted into new homes, or transferred to rescue partners. To the average person, this may not sound like a big deal, but it's huge for us. By maintaining this average, it's opened the doors to endless possibilities, including grants, statewide support, in addition to the support we have and will continue to have from our community. This is the first time in Stanley County history to see statistics such as these. None of this would have been possible if it wasn't for the dedicated and hard-working members of the Animal Protective Services and the shelter staff. I mentioned earlier when I first started was training. Coming from a training background in law enforcement and dignitary protection, I made a promise to our staff they would receive more than just the mandatory in-service training that the state requires. We encourage and push our staff to seek specialized training. Examples are firearm specialist and computer and digital forensics. Prior to COVID, our office began active shooter training in our schools. At first, we started with officers, teaching them the state mandated training. And then we broadened that scope and we started inserting our volunteer firemen, our EMS, and our school officials. We were teaching everybody what each person's role would be, God forbid if we ever did have an active shooter. Unfortunately, COVID happened. We had to stop. I'm excited to say now that COVID's past us, we're starting to put all the logistics back into place and start that training all over again. We have several goals that we're striving for currently. Tonight, I'd like to share just a couple of them. There are canine and our drone programs. If you would have told me 2 years ago we would use drones like we use them now, I'd have thought it was a waste. But we use them every day. We used them twice today. It is something that has astonished me. Recently, we were awarded a grant from the state, and with this money, we're going to purchase 4 more drones. That way, each patrol shift will have a drone. That way, there's always one out. We're also going to assign 1 to our Criminal Investigations Division, our Narcotics Division, and our SWAT team. So far, as of tonight, we already have 8 certified drone operators. And to give you an idea about their certification, it's the first step in getting your pilot's license. It's the same class they have to take. I mentioned our canine program. We're currently revamping our canine program. We have hired an outside third party to come in and oversee the program, who is a master canine instructor certified through the state. Came highly recommended. Does a lot of the agencies in the county and surrounding. For us, our goals are very simple. We continue staying true to our core values, which are the preservation of human life, integrity, and professionalism. We will continue holding our staff at the highest standard possible. We will also be sending our staff to more specialized training to ensure we're keeping up with the newest trends. I'll close with this. Some of you may know about this, some may not. On Sunday, January 21st, deputies received a call about a deceased body with no identification that had been located at the end of Palmerville Road near the wooded area and the railroad tracks. Upon their arrival, it was apparent the body had been dumped there. With the assistance of Union County Sheriff's Office, investigators were able to identify the individual that day. Investigators began putting together a timeline, reviewing camera footage, and interviewing family members and friends of the victim to establish the victim's last known location. From there, they were able to apply for a search warrant for that residence and determine that the individual had passed away there. More interviews were conducted with residents at the home, and it was determined that an individual there had aided the deceased in obtaining the drugs that ultimately caused his death. At the conclusion of the investigation, one individual had been arrested for felonious concealment or failure to report a death, and one individual arrested and was charged with second-degree murder, death by distribution, trafficking opium or heroin, and maintaining a dwelling. That took me all of 30 seconds, but that was 5 days. From the time they got the notification of an unidentified body, in 5 days they made 2 arrests. That's unheard of, unheard of. I can't begin to express to you how proud of the staff that I have. Every member of that sheriff's office is committed to being the best they can be and provide our county with the professional service that they can. I just encourage you, if y'all see somebody out, if you see a deputy, whether it's a bailiff, animal protective service, detective, whoever, take a minute and tell them thank you for the job they do. I could not, everybody always says I'm the one doing a good job. Yes, it starts at the top, but you know what? They're the ones out here doing the job. They're the ones that make me look good. They are the most loyal bunch of individuals that I could have ever asked for, and they're loyal to all of us. Not just me, but to our county. They never cease to surprise me at their ability to do their jobs. But I just encourage you to take time and say thank you. That's all I got. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Sheriff, and we do appreciate you and your officers and the jobs that y'all are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is Andy Lucas to talk about North Carolina Emergency Management Training Center funding agreement amendment.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. The North Carolina Department of Insurance Office of State Fire Marshal is seeking to amend our existing funding agreement for the North Carolina Emergency Management Training Center project. The Office of State Fire Marshal is planning to send the county an additional $5.5 million from a fiscal year 23-24 state budget appropriation and $881,396 from the North Carolina Collaboratory for and for those who may not know what the North Carolina Collaboratory is, that's a state research group. Duke University is also involved, and they're doing research on the PFAS, the foam that the firefighters used to use. And so because we're going to have this aircraft rescue training facility, they're going to be doing some innovative research with those foams in terms of just the ability to get rid of it and treat it and some other things. So $881,000 is coming from the North Carolina Collaboratory that will go towards that project to install equipment that will assist in that research and development, and for a total of a little over $6.3 million. And so we would just ask the board to consider and approve that funding agreement to recognize those additional funds from the state and put those into that budget so we can continue to move that emergency training center project forward. Phase 1 of that project is moving closer and closer to being able to be to happen, and that'll be the swift water rescue and the aircraft rescue facility that are across from the prison. And then phase 2, which some of these funds will actually be used to begin the design of phase 2, will be a dormitory, a warehouse facility, and a office slash classroom facility that will be on the where the Prime Power Park used to be, kind of closer back towards Albemarle, that Gus Shad, the county purchased from Gus Shad to help with this project, and so with state funding. So I'll be happy to answer any questions related to this funding and the agreement amendment and the budget amendment.
Any questions, of County Manager Lucas? Okay, I don't see any questions, Mr. Lucas. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we approve the funding agreement amendment and the associated budget amendment to recognize, receive, and appropriate the additional OSFM funds.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, Commissioner King. Any other comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. County Manager, you're still up.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. This next item is exciting because it means we're getting closer and closer to the sort of a 10-year project coming to a culmination with the opening of the livestock arena out at the Agri-Civic Center. It should be ready end of April, early part of May. And so in preparation for that, recommending some additional staff be authorized in order to adequately operate that facility. The addition of this livestock facility, coupled with our existing Agri-Civic Center facility, creates a new event center complex that will require operational and staffing coordination, collaborative procurement, enhanced marketing, etc. So it's recommended the creation of a new events, facilities, and operations director at a grade 75 to oversee the operations of both the livestock arena and the Agri-Civic Center. Really trying to create synergy between those two facilities and really market this as an events complex. And so doing that and reclassifying some other positions and repositioning them within the organization, and also adding additional part-time salaries to that budget to provide sufficient part-time staffing for the livestock component of that through the end of the fiscal year. And so I would ask the board to consider and approve the recommended staffing plan and authorize the new events, facilities, and operations director position, and approve the associated budget amendment with those positions. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Don't see any, so what would the board like to do?
I make a motion that we approve the additional changes for staff at the livestock arena, and I look forward to it finally opening up.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Commissioner King, second motion. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Which brings us to the, thank you, Commissioner, not Commissioner, County Manager Lucas.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want your picture, Dave?
No, I'm good.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Okay, all right. No pictures. Consent agenda. I believe everybody's had time to look over the consent agenda.
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Okay, Commissioner Shuto makes a motion. Do we have a second? Commissioner Hatley? All in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Which brings us down to board comments, announcements, and committee reports. And I'm gonna start first with Commissioner Crump. Do you have words of wisdom for us?
don't have any words of wisdom to share. I will report a little bit on our Health and Human Services Board meeting. We learned some very interesting information, and I know Commissioner King can add to this when it's his turn if he'd like. But our Health and Human Services Department, they're working really, really hard, especially in a couple of positions with DSS. We are seeing the foster children, the number of children in the foster homes is growing, and it is doubled in some months, more than double of what it's been traditionally. So over the last 2 years in February this time, we were right around 31 or 32 foster children, and this past week we have been at 64, I believe, and it's gone up to 70 in the 70s, and we have had the same individuals who have been, holding the line and taking care of all of this. And so, am I at liberty to talk about? Okay, so I know Commissioner King, I thank you for getting the ball rolling on this. Because we heard the numbers at the meeting the other night and how hard it is on the staff. And so he got busy and called our county manager and presented to all of us this evening. And I think it was completely unanimous. We all feel that they need additional help. So we've approved 2 more positions for that department. Because I don't think that we're going to see this decrease anytime in the near future. We know the state of our union. And so, anyway, this is one way we can help, and I'm very glad that we moved in that direction. That's all.
Okay. Commissioner Hatley? Commissioner Barbie, Vice Chairman Barbie?
I'd like to thank the students from the FBLA, the community college, and especially to Toby Neal for the great award he got. And I also want to thank the sheriff. Good money spent on those drones, because I got to see one work firsthand. They work great. Thank you.
Commissioner Eford?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2 quick things. We had our EDC meeting last Monday. And it was the first one that Commissioner Shudo and myself got to attend, and I certainly appreciate Candace and her staff and, working through the RFPs and RFQs of people wanting to come to Stanley County, and I certainly appreciate all the hard work, because people are wanting to come here and people's wanting to start businesses here, so I appreciate it. And Sheriff, what you guys do with the Animal Protective Services, I certainly appreciate it. You might think that nobody cares, but that lady right there that I came to this meeting with tonight really does. She looks at all that, and I know you had an adoption event out at Carolina Presbyterian Church this past Saturday, and I think it went pretty well from everything I read. And I appreciate you going out and doing that, because I know it takes officers time to do that, but it makes people aware of what the Animal Protective Services, that what they do. So I appreciate it very much, sir. That's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner King?
Clinton, I want to thank you for what you do. You probably had the most thankless job in the county. You're probably one of the people that get chewed every day. So I know you go above and beyond, so I really appreciate what you do down there, and thank your staff for everything. And you're probably less liked than the sheriff. I can't ever think of a good time to come to the tax office. Sheriff, thank you for all you do. I appreciate everything, and you guys are doing a phenomenal job. And I think that probably more than half of your staff has probably got advanced law enforcement certificates now. So to me, that speaks volume about your agency too, with the training you're doing. So keep up the great work, and thank you for all you do for our community. And Commissioner Crump's right. We had a major issue that really needed attention with the DSS office, and that's something that we needed to take quick action on. And I'm really thankful for this board tonight coming together and doing that for the community and for all the people in the county. So thank you guys for everything y'all do.
Commissioner Shudo?
I just got a few things from that around the county. Y'all know me. I usually get around the county the best I can. And first, a couple sad news. We lost 2 icons last couple weeks. Joyce Little in Oakboro, mayor down there. She was always a class act all the way. Hate to lose her. Just really gonna spend a little bit of time on Gene Starnes passing. I tell you, one of the things is I was honored to doing was when I passed the torch from Citizen of the Year, Stanley County Citizen of the Year, to Gene. That was one of the nicest things and proudest things I had done. Gene was tickled to death that he had earned that thing, and why it took so long to get that for Gene, because, you know, when I opened my store and was downtown for 18 years, Gene Starnes was always there promoting downtown Albemarle. And he was just a great promoter, and he loved Stanley County. He's just a great guy. His health deteriorated a lot the last couple of years. But, man, what a great guy and what a huge loss. And I'm glad he was presented with Citizen of the Year before he left. And just with traveling around the county, I like to eat in restaurants. Y'all probably know that. with chopsticks now. And a couple of new Mexican restaurants have opened up. The Brava opened up across from Bojangles down in Norwood, and I suggest y'all, if y'all like to give it a try. My God, the money they spent on remodeling that place is just incredible. And then Famoso's Taco and Burrito in the old CC's, man, they did a beautiful job of remodeling that place too, and the food is good in both of them there. And talking about some old school, the Rosebriar was, you know, purchased, and man, the first Friday of every month, if you go there, you got to get there before 5 o'clock because there's already a line forming, and they had their lasagna the other night, and that place was packed. And they have great food there. And then just me and Commissioner King, we went up to the Richfield Volunteer Fire Department. There's about 70 people there, and we really appreciate the volunteer fire departments and what those guys do. They risk their lives to save others. And then gonna end with the Albemarle Rotary Club up in Meisenheimer. Oh my gosh, the Harlem Wizards came, and that place was packed. I think would y'all sell like about 2,000 tickets almost, or over 1,200 tickets? But that place was packed. They had to turn people away, and it was just great entertainment and raised money. Who'd y'all raise money for?
A lot of it's going to go back to scholarships for schools.
For the schools. So anyway, there's a lot going on in Stanley County. Anyway, just wanted to share that.
Okay, you made me hungry. The young man that has been elected the president, the national president for the PBL, I mean, that is outstanding. I mean, that is really outstanding. Appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate everybody that presented something, even you, Clinton. Appreciate your staff and what y'all do. Other than that, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Motion, second, all in favor? Motion carries.
If you want your picture made with
You
the
want your
chairman, it'll be
picture
right over
made,
here,
I'll be
right
glad
after
to
the-
pose with you.